over this, and just make sure that all this area is covered. There we are. Right, so that's the shield done for base coating. Next, what we have is these leather bits, leather straps, and this loincloth type thing, and the belt. So for the belt, I think what I'll do is I'll get some more of this corn red, pop it down on here, put a little bit up there, and then get some of the Incubi Darkness. We're having a little make up your own colours kind of thing as we go along. Why not indeed? This is like a very dark bluey grey colour, this Incubi Darkness. So let's add some of that to the palette and then pop some in this red colour. And it makes quite a dirty lilac-y colour. If you get me drift on that. Let's see what it's like. Like that. So let's do that on the belt. I don't want it too much on the skin. I want something bright on the skin. So these leather straps are going to be a little brighter. They're not going to be incredibly bright and vivid colours. They're just a brighter colour for these leather straps. And the fun part next is trying to highlight this part. There's some little metallic studs on it, but because of what it is, I'm not going to be what you may call it, I'll not be painting them with the rough iron, because I don't think I need to. Next is the loincloth. What colour can we do that? You know what, let's not do the loincloth, let's do the leather first of all. Give it a shake, and it's leather brown we're going to be using. So we'll add some of that to the palette. I don't think you saw that, did you? And there we are. So this is going to be on all the leather areas. And again, this is a base coat, it's not the final coat, so it's not going to look like this once it's once we're finished with it. But we're just going to have a straight plain leather straps. There's no coloured leather or anything on this fella. I'm not saying you can't use coloured leather. As I always say in my videos, which is not right with this one, but it's given me free rein to paint these how I wish. So I'm treating them as though they're my own minis, and I'm painting them whatever colour I want to paint them. But as you know with me, I paint them to where I'm happy with them, and I use what colours I want, whether it's a colour that would actually be used in case of historical stuff like this, or what, doesn't make any difference to me. I will paint them how I want them. And I always say that when you're painting minis for yourself, they're your minis, paint them how you want them to look. No one can tell you they're wrong if they're the way you want them. Because if the colours you want them, the colours they will be. Unless, of course, they should be a set colour. So obviously you wouldn't, if you're doing historical like World War II battles, you'd do a German uniform in the colours it should be, or as near as, and not what's the word I'm looking for, you wouldn't do bright pink with the yellow stripes. You would do them an appropriate colour for what they are. Same with Napoleon era English uniforms. You wouldn't paint the jackets bright green, you'd paint them some form of scarlet red. You know, so you would be a little more accurate with certain colour schemes than you would with things like fantasy, which this really is. It's not a historical game. It's a fantasy game based on historical events, if you get me drift. So there's nothing really. I mean, you've seen earlier a woman riding a giant scorpion. So yeah, it's not historically accurate is what I'm saying. The game itself isn't. So you don't need to be in your painting scheme. So next, what do we want to do? The loincloth. As I said, at the moment we're just base coating. We're not thinking of anything else. What can we do for the loincloth? Shall we do a purple colour for the loincloth? I don't do a lot of purple. Let's see what I have in the line of purple. We have alien purple. And if you look on the bottom of the thing where it says 100% match, that's down to the match with the spray paints for the primers from the MF Painter range. Just in case you don't know MF Painter terribly well, that's what that is. Pop that over there. Now let's get into this purple. Now we can make this darker. We probably will make it darker with the wash that we're going to add. And again, as I've said, just because these are the colours I'm using doesn't mean to say that these are the colours you should use. You know, there's no, as far as I know, there's no official colour scheme for them. What they show on the website is suggested colours, but you paint them however you wish. I'm just doing this showing you how I paint them and how I get the effects that I get. I may be right, I may be wrong. As far as I'm concerned, they look half decent on the table, and that's all I care about. And so far, people have been very happy with the work I've done. I've had quite a few compliments from the Games Club in regards to my painting, so you know, I must be doing something right with them. But as I say, I'm not telling you how to paint, I'm just showing you the different ways I paint my minis, and hope I can inspire somebody to at least pick up a paintbrush and have a try. That's all I can hope for. If I get one person to pick up a paintbrush and have a try, then I feel as though this channel is a success. But and if you do pick up a paintbrush because of watching some of my videos, and you've enjoyed the experience of painting your minis, then you know, you can always show some appreciation by popping over to Patreon. We have a change of name in this one for our producer, because I got an email from him a couple of days ago asking if I could. He's renamed his channel, and has asked me to rename the or put his new name on my videos rather than the old one, because of he feels he's being respectful to what's going on in the world at the moment by taking away the wargaming aspect. So, which I understand, and you know, I will absolutely fit in with what he's planning on doing. Anywho, let's go back into this corn red once more and try and give this area at the top another blast, just to make sure that we're working with red and not with any other colour up there. And I'll just bring this red all the way down. I need to, by the look of it, I need to also touch up some of the metal parts, but I think I can do that with the metal colour that I'll be putting over the top, rather than going back over with the rough iron once again. There we go. And I think that will do nicely. Okay, let's cover the shield. Now, let us look at the second, or the first highlighty thing on the skin. So, we are going from mocha skin. That was the first one we used, if you remember. Now we're taking it a little lighter to tiger's eye skin. I don't think that's the right order. It looks like it's correct, so that's what we'll do. Oh, I almost forgot. It's sticking an extra ball time. I need to go through some of these paints and put balls in them, because I've been getting paint and not putting the balls in, which, yes, does sound wrong, but I know what I mean, and you know what I mean. So here we go, give these a good shake. Make sure they're nicely mixed, and then we can pop it down on here. And there we are. So, have a look at this and add some of this colour onto all the raised areas, leaving the darker colour showing through in the deepest recesses. Now bear in mind, this is going to be the mid-tone, this is going to be the actual colour of the skin. The first colour we put on was the shadow colour. So that's the deep skin tone, that's the what you'd see in crevices, in the recesses, which would be in shadow, the light isn't going to hit. This is the actual colour of the skin, the mid-tone. And then the next colour we're going to be using will be the highlight, which will be the parts where the light will hit. So this is the colour that needs to be on most of the skin area, except, as I say, for the what's the word I'm looking for? Except for any recesses. Let me just wet the brush, dry it off just a little, and come back into it again. The paint might move a little better this time. There we go. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing with this, because it is a little fiddly because of the pose of the Mini. But I'm going to try and get it so that you can see everything that's going on. And I've just noticed there's a bit of strapping there, so I'm going to come back in a bit with some paler, with a paler colour. I couldn't tell that at first, but looking at it now, it sort of like stands out a wee bit. There we go. That will do fine. Now I may or may not actually put a wash on this. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. It depends on how it actually looks as to whether it needs a wash or not. There we go. But as it's looking so far, I don't think it does need one. We're just going to go, as I say, all over the skin except in the deepest recesses. So where you've got these little areas of dips, in fact, if I was going to do a wash, I'd have probably done it by now. I should have done it by now. I should have done it after the base coat, then re-establish the base coat. In fact, I'm going to move to a smaller brush. I think this is a little too big. Let's try this one. It's another Army Painter brush. It's the Dungeons and Dragons starter brush. Let's have a look, see how this one works with detail. Not sure whether it's going to be a good one or not, but we will see. No, I don't think this one's terribly good for detail. The bristles splay out a bit too much. You don't get a good point with it. So I'll try to keep away from detail with this one and just paint where I can. well, I can paint where I feel as though it will be useful. There we go. I hope you can see some difference there with skin tone. Sorry I went quiet then for a second. I apologise for that. I'm just trying to concentrate on what I'm doing. Yeah, so this particular brush isn't the best for detail. It's a good one for just slapping paints on, but not for anything that you'd really feel as though you need a nice point on. And I really need to get some more brushes, I think. Let's have a try with this. It's again a Nami Painter brush. It's the Kolinsky Sable Masterclass brush that I got with the Nami Painter set a few years ago. It's getting a little bit shot at now, I'm afraid. I don't know where my brushes have gone. So we'll just keep adding this colour in smaller and smaller areas. So we're not trying to add this to everywhere now, we're just trying to add it to areas where we've already added some, but not what do you call it? We're not adding it all over. So originally, if we had an area like that we're painting, now we would be putting it in a much smaller, more precise part of that area, just to make it look a little brighter, because the more you put, the more paint you put on an area, the brighter that colour will look. So I'm putting it on the more raised areas now, rather than on everywhere I see. So areas that will be hit by light is getting this now. And then when we come down to the more brighter highlight, we will be adding that on an even smaller area than we're adding this to. So we're building up areas of light now, and where light is hitting. That is the idea of this layering technique. So I'm adding this all over the fingers. There we go. And on the raised areas of muscle groups where light is going to hit. fact, I've missed this hand completely because of the issue we have with detail brushes at the moment. There we go. And that is it for this particular tone. Yep. Next, as I said, we're going to be coming in with a pail of paint to do the leg straps on the bottom of one of his legs. We'll go back into the original brush and we'll use a little bit of skeletal bone. Don't need too much of it because there's not much of an area that needs this happening to. So I may come back to this and add a bit of a wash. There we go. Just make sure that all the area that you need to cover is covered. And that should do the job.